Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Tyson with Grimm's Closet, and today I want to talk a little bit about the Spider-Man Magic the Gathering set, which just came out. I'm a big Spider-Man fan. I have been since I was a little kid. The first video game I ever bought was Spider-Man Return of the Sinister Six on the NES, and it was like $70 or something in 1991 or something, and a lot of chores to earn that one. But I wanted to talk about some of the things that I thought worked well with the set, some of the things that didn't work, and just wanted to share my general thoughts. If this is your first time here at the channel, I'd appreciate a like, follow, subscribe. If you like this kind of content, give it a thumbs up. If not, give it a thumbs down. One of the first things that I want to discuss is the bonus sheet. I thought that overall this was a pretty big win. There were some really great cards in here. It was really cool to see some art featuring some of my favorite artists like Todd McFarlane, John Romita Sr., Mobius, Steve Ditko. It's just really cool seeing some of these artists who I just idolized since I was a kid. It's the reason I went to art school, and it's informed a lot of my life. And so Spider-Man is something that's really important to me. And so when I found out it was coming to Magic the Gathering, I see that it's this IP that I see a Spider-Man card. I know tons about Spider-Man. I'm super excited. I'm super down. And so some of the things with the bonus sheet, some of it was the cards themselves were hits. There's really cool art across the board. A nice variety of things throughout Spider-Man's history, and especially a focus on older stuff, which is a lot more fun to me. But the bonus sheet is kind of having an issue right now. I don't recall the set it originally came out in, but some of the bonus sheets that I really think of is the Wilds of Eldraine Enchanting Tales sheet and the Strixhaven's Mystical Archive sheets. Both of these bonus sheet sets included one bonus sheet card in every single pack. Some of the hits, that are still valuable, and both of these had Japanese and American or U.S. printings or art versions. But like Ristic Studies with the Japanese art goes for about $120, while the U.S. version goes for about $66 currently. Smothering Tithe from the same bonus sheet, $156 with the waifu version, and the US and the English version comes for $43.91. Mystical Archives had the same thing where it had Japanese art. This one's actually Japanese all across the board with the text, but the Japanese Demonic Tutor is $140, and the English one is $56. So there's into Fairies Protection, $63 for Japanese and $48.79 for the English one. Both of these also had, the Enchanting Tales had the Funfetti ones, and some of those are going for like $700. And the Mystical Archives had a etch version, which they weren't super foily, but it was a foil etch, and those ones are also going for a premium. And so the fact that these can have value still, and they came in every pack, to come to later set like Final Fantasy, where the drop rate went from 1 in every pack to 1 in 3. And now with Spider-Man, where it's a 1 in 24 packs. This is a pretty big disappointment to me, where you can open a box, potentially not even get one in your box, and maybe you're lucky you get two. It's a big miss for me, just with the fact that there is less cards in this set. This gives you less cards to see. It just kind of takes away a lot of the value from it. They do appear 1-to-1 in every collector's boosters, but this product was very incredibly expensive. I opened a box of it on the channel last week, and it was $600 for that box, and that was hard to justify. I only did it that time because I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and there's a lot of people who are going to be new to Magic, and they're coming in and they're like, I love Spider-Man, let's play a new set, let's play a new game, or I've never tried before, I've heard of Magic, and they see these prices. It's a little disappointing. And so the frequency change, it really fundamentally alters just what the bonus sheets kind of were and what they felt like they were supposed to be. They're not it makes them less accessible. And these reprints were exciting to open, and now you don't get them. And when you have some things that are a lot more valuable than others, and you get one that's not, it just kind of devalues it and just puts everything exciting into the collector boosters, which I think it's kind of a detriment to the pack opening experience. Next thing I want to talk about is some of the commanders. There's some fun commanders in here. I'm kind of excited to play Cosmic Spider-Man, which I always knew him as Captain Universe Spider-Man, so I don't know why there's the name change there. But some of the Amazing Spider-Man, you can't throw in all the characters that you might want to throw in on with the other Spider characters, like Spider-Man and Black Cat. They team up all the time. Why is Black Cat just a black card? I don't really feel that fits her personality, her MO. She's kind of a hero half the time, a foil to Spider-Man. I wouldn't even say she's ever really bad. There's other characters like what hero or what villain can lead the Sinister Six. Dr. Octopus, his cards are Demir colors, blue and black, and he can't lead it. And if you throw in someone like Green Goblin, who's never really a part of the Sinister Six, he can't have, some of these characters won't be able to have some other characters that are in the Sinister Six where their colors might not be green, or Dr. Octopus can't include Hobgoblin because he's red. And so some of the characters included were a little, I wish there were more options. It feels like it was very limited. And a lot more, onto my next thing is there's way too much focus on the multiverse. I know a lot of people have been having similar sentiments, but there was just too much focus on the multiverse. Spider-Man's known for being fairly grounded, and a lot of those characters were missing. I'm not saying I necessarily need a Robbie Robertson card, but I mean, the man has been in hundreds of Spider-Man comics compared to other characters who haven't. I just think there was too much focus on the Spider-Verse, not enough on the grounded tone and characters that make Spider-Man compelling. The multiverse has its place. The Spider-Verse is popular for a reason, but we're missing characters like Ultimate Peter Parker. But we have Sun Spider. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me on some of the characters that were chosen. And it doesn't really form a narrative. But the best Spider-Man stories work because it's about Peter Parker struggling with his real problems, the rent, relationships, responsibility. I'm not saying that we need cards for every single thing there, but it just kind of feels like it's just about the spectacle of the Spider-Verse. Also, there's a lot of missing just street level. The network of different characters that show up. Kingpin, he first showed up in Spider-Man issue 50. Punisher, he first showed up in Spider-Man 129. There's other characters like Cloak and Dagger who first appeared in Spider-Man comics. Spider-Man's teamed up, like he used to have his Marvel team up. This would have been a great opportunity to throw in characters like Daredevil, Iron Fist, Moon Knight. I own dozens of comics where he was teaming up with these characters, and there's nothing here. These would have been a lot more fun and exciting than having Spider X character, Spider Bite. I don't even recognize who these characters are. And that said, I say I'm a big Spider-Man fan. I have not been keeping up with it the last 5 or 6 years just because the price of comics has kind of gotten a little crazy. But it really just felt like a missed opportunity. And going back, there's other characters that I think are really missing, other villains. Again, there's no central leader for a team like the Sinister Six. Dr. Octopus would have been a perfect character for 3 to 4 colors. Just using his different facets of his character to build the team around him. And so this is probably my biggest complaint with the set is there's not a commander that can lead a big villain team. Additionally, there's lots of other characters that I think we're missing. I already mentioned Ultimate Peter Parker, but what about some other characters like Ultimate Jessica Drew, another alternate Spider-Man version, Ultimate Kitty Pryde, who was a big part of those Ultimate comic stories. Other characters, Punisher first showed up as a villain and then became kind of an anti-hero who showed up all the time. We have Luke Cage, we have Iron Fist, other heroes for hire characters. I remember when I was a kid, there was constantly showing up with Nova, the New Warriors, and Doctor Strange. Other characters which are a little bit newer who are missing. Red Goblin, Null. Other characters that we see quite a bit. Maybe we could have had a Doctor Doom. I already mentioned the Kingpin Punisher a couple times, but there's the Tinkerer. Where's Hammerhead? Hammerhead was just recently in the Spider-Man PlayStation game. Silvermane, the Rose, Tombstone. Tombstone is in the game. But there's Toxin, Scream, Carrion, She-Venom, Sin Eater, the burglar who shot Uncle Ben, Doppelganger, Calypso, Cardiac, Alistair Smythe, Boomerang, who was Spider-Man's roommate for a little bit. There's other characters like Kraven the Hunter. He gets 2 cards, but a character like Vermin, who was a very big part of the final, or the big, I guess they brought him back, but the final Kraven the Hunter storyline, Vermin was a big part of that. I would have rather had a Vermin than some of these Spider characters, or a second Kraven the Hunter. There's multiple, I think there's I don't remember, there's 4 different Hobgoblins. I believe we got the Kingsley version of the Hobgoblin, but I believe the Jason Macendale version was in even more comics. Some of the tone for some of the characters, I don't feel it quite fit. Like I mentioned Black Cat, where she's kind of a morally gray character. She's constantly showing up as a love interest, as a foil, as a rival, as someone who he teams up with. And there's other things that didn't need to be problems, like some of the framing on these cards. There's the card that's kind of the meme card. I forget the name of it off the top of my head. There's Arachne, where the characters just cropped really weird. There's the Spider-Verse card where it looks really good in the extended art, but it doesn't look so good with the frame on there. Also, I like the Universe Beyond frame a lot better than just the standard Magic frame. And one of the real problems, and probably realistically the biggest problem, is the pricing. Not just the cost of a booster box, which is now $200, and they've been dropping, and they're kind of all over the place now because people aren't finding that there's a lot of value in those boxes. But $200 for a play booster box of standard cards is a little bit crazy. When we were having boxes a year ago, you can buy them for $110. Collector boosters at $350 is the MSRP, if you could find it at that. Like I said, I spent $600 for mine. I'm very much the exception. I have some disposable income that I can spend on things like this. But it's even having someone like myself where I can do this and it's not going to break the bank for me. I'm questioning the amount of money that I've been spending. There's shrinkflation with the boxes themselves. A box of boosters used to have 36 cards in them, and now they have 30. The standard packs no longer have the art cards in them, and now those are only in the collector boosters at a certain rate, like 1 in 3. There's just lots of scalping going on, and a lot of this is encouraged by the way that Wizards is now treating the product. It doesn't feel sustainable. When a casual Magic player can't afford to crack packs for fun anymore, and then when the collector treatments is really the only way to really get that excitement that you get when you open a pack, it's kind of a big problem. I really think these things should be coming back down to earth. $300, any of these. I don't care what the product is. These markups on prices for IPs, whatever, it's kind of ridiculous, especially when you see competing card games where their prices aren't doing this. I just kind of I think about how the set could have been. We could have had some of these excellent treatments. Some of them are hit or miss. Having cards like the Sensational Spider-Man, the alternate costumes being the chase cards, Like, I don't see why these are 1 in 100 packs or whatever they are. Like, these should be something that you should be able to collect. I think that there's value in being able to collect a full set of Magic the Gathering, and that is no longer something that is possible, which is actually encouraging me to spend less. And I'm starting to just get things specifically that I want. I would have loved to have seen more of an overarching narrative. Not that there isn't narrative in the set. There's the origin of Spider-Man. There's different sagas which tell some of the stories from some of the more famous comic book storylines, like Maximum Carnage, the death of Gwen Stacy, like the origin of Spider-Man. There's the Clone Saga, and there's a bunch of other ones in there. Just having a little bit less of just random spider people may have been able to tell a little bit more of a story. A street level connection with characters like Daredevil, Kingpin, Punisher. The old team up themes that were just the Marvel team up comics. I mean, that book ran for, I don't even know, hundreds of issues. Every month, Spider-Man's teaming up with a hero, and it was very fun, super exciting. The lack of having a villain character who could actually lead all the villains together, and reasonable pricing. I think this is kind of what I find would have been exciting. And the last thing is the Secret Lair that just came out. Having the repeats of cards in two like there's a Lightning Greaves in the Heroes version, and then there's a Villains version where there's a Soul Ring, a Command Tower. Like, I want to see these things, but the way that it was executed, this stuff should have been in a Commander deck. And that really leads me to believe that that this product could have just been 2 to 4 Commander decks, and it would have been a better, more fun product. So this set, it has some really genuine high points. It has some really fun mechanics. The pre-release that I went to was very fun. It was flavorful. The format felt a little grindy. But some of the characters really felt like they were doing what they should have been doing. And the bonus sheets, there's just little things that could have been tweaked, and it didn't need to be a problem, and it wouldn't have cost them anything to the price to print the cards is exactly the same. They could have had the bonus sheet available to all players instead of just the ones who are spending hundreds of dollars on collector boosters. And so I just think Spider-Man deserves better. I don't have any problem with a character like Spider-Man fitting into Magic the Gathering. I see a character like Spider-Man, and I'm like, I know who he is. I can grab these stories. That can be Avatar: The Last Airbender, Doctor Who, if you're into that. You pick up the character and you know all about them. I pick up a card like Feather, which is a fun card, and I don't know anything about Feather, besides it does cool things when I play it. And so, that's kind of where I'm coming from. What are your thoughts? Did you buy any Spider-Man? Is this something that you enjoyed? Is this just a flat-out miss? So I just think Spider-Man deserved better. It could have just gestated for just a little bit longer, and it could have ended up being something really special, and it just didn't. A lot of the issues that the set had were preventable. A lot of the art was really good, and there was a lot of things in there that are good. What are your thoughts? Did you guys open any of this product? Did you just completely skip it? Is this your first time playing Magic the Gathering? What did you think? Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you guys next time.